All right.
We need one more down.
We're gonna why do we always forget that? Thank you. All right. We're gonna talk about we're gonna move into 7.2. We're gonna talk about congruent. What does somebody explain to us what the word congruent means? What's congruent mean? Trace, what do you think of?
The same.
Exactly the same. It's just the geometric term, guys, tells you they're congruent. You see anything there? Connor, to say something intelligent.
They put the hash marks on each of them.
Guys, what do those little hash marks mean? They mean congruency. That's what those hash marks mean. Wherever there's one hash mark, that's congruent to the other figure that happens. And what about those little arcs that are in the corner of the angle? Same thing?
Yeah.
A and are congruent. They got one little hash mark in them. Yeah, right angles. Are two right angles congruent? Logically, of course, they're both 90 degrees. Okay? All right, if two figures are congruent, they're correspond. Do you guys know what the word corresponding means? What if we looked up the dictionary? What would it say? From one spot to the other spot. In the exact, kind of in the same spot in two different figures. So corresponding sides are and corresponding angles. That's what happens. Here's our congruent. Now, watch how we do this. And here's what you guys got to write down for your homework. All right. You got line M right in the middle, and you got two triangles that are congruent. Somebody match up a pair of angles that are congruent. We already did two of them that are pretty easy. Henley, what would you say?
Angle C and F.
Okay. Here's how you got to write this, though. You got to put that little. Do you guys know the angle symbol?
Yes.
Okay. Angle C, and the angle symbol looks like an L, but it's squished a little bit. That's it. No angle symbols, no credit. Angle C is what's the word? Do you guys know the congruent symbol?
I
Yeah.
It's an equal sign with a squiggly on it. Is congruent to angle F. Notice they both have two little arcs in the corner in their angles. So that means they are congruent. Donnie, give me another set of congruent angles.
Angle B is
Angle B is
angle E.
congruent to angle E. Very good. And who give me the last set of congruent angles that we have not mentioned yet? Go ahead, Connor.
Angle D is congruent to angle A.
Angle A is congruent to angle D? Yeah. What if you wrote angle D is congruent to angle A? It's the same thing, right? The order. Yeah. Now, you got to match up this. So that's three of them. Okay? That's three. There's a total of 6 things that are 6 parts that are congruent to each other. Next, we got to do the sides. Okay? Somebody raise their hand and give me one side of the left triangle. You guys remember how to name a side? Okay? There's no letters right by the side. You got to name the side with 2 letters. Endpoints. Matt, give me one side.
A and C.
A to C. Okay? And then what do you put over that, Matt? Do you remember?
A line.
Put a line over it. That's segment AC. What's AC congruent to? The order matters here. Jack Muir, what do you think? Yeah. Or actually, it's a segment, but a line goes on forever. A segment has endpoints. Yeah? All right, somebody give me another pair of congruent sides. Go ahead, Catherine.
C and B.
Side CB is congruent to, wait, don't say the other one yet. Look, everybody finds C to B. CB. Catherine, it's very important how you match this up with the other side. With, what is it? It's not EF. It's got to be FE because here's how my little brain thinks, guys. I went from CB, I went from 2 hash marks to the right angle. So I got to go from 2 hash marks to the right angle on the other triangle. So you've got to say it FE. That makes sense, Catherine? All right. And who give me the third pair? Let's go. Every hand in this room should be up. Fire up, people. Maybe the motivation speech this morning. Go ahead, Henley.
Angle AB is
It's not an angle.
line AB.
Yeah, side AB. AB is congruent to DE. Very good. Put little lines over it. Again, angle signs have to be there. Little lines over your sides, over your segments, have to be there. No lines, no credit. No angle symbols, no credit. All right, now, think about what you guys learned in last chapter. You guys just took the test on. What transformation happened from the left triangle to the right triangle? Was it a translation or a transformation? Which one's a slide? Translation. Was it a translation, a reflection, a rotation, or a dilation? Look at them. See if you can figure that out. Antonio, which one is it? Which one? I think it's a reflection. It was reflected, okay, in the figure above. The two triangles are congruent because, here's how we label it, triangle DEF is the image of triangle ABC reflected. Does everybody agree that it was reflected? Over the line M. Okay, we reflected them over the x-axis or the y-axis. They reflected that over line M. So your job is to decide what kind of transformation happened. Can you guys see what kind of transformation happened in the next one without any work? Look at it. Is that a slide? Is that a reflection? Is that a rotation? Which one is it? Billy, what do you think?
It's mirror reflection.
Yeah, I think it's a reflection.
And plus, it also rotated.
Yeah, I think it's a reflection maybe, and because look how this one turned all the, it reflected. It went from here, and then it went to there. So it's definitely a reflection, and I think there is some kind of other move in it. So, all right, label all 6 corresponding parts. Go.
Done.
Should take you about 30 seconds. Remember, the order of them matters. You got to be real careful how you match them up. Gracie McGuire, give me one thing that is congruent.
The side is an I.
Do something. Let's go.
It's an I. It's an I. Or Y side I G.
You're like making no sense.
Angle.
Angle, side, angle, side.
I said side.
Okay, side. Which one?
IG.
Okay, IG. There you go. Now get fired up. IG is congruent to. Be careful.
JL.
Wrong.
LJ.
Right. Look how that works. You went from I to G. You went from 2 to 1 on the hash marks. Always look at little arc angles.
Oh, okay.
And then it goes 2 to 1 goes LJ. The order matters, people.
Wait, would JL be or JI be congruent to JL?
What do you guys think? What if you switch both of them? Then that works. Very good. So that's a J right there. All right, somebody give me something else that's congruent. I don't care if it's side or angles. Devin Nelligan, give me something else.
Angle G to congruent to angle J.
Angle G is congruent to angle J. Perfect. I started a new column for my angles. I like to keep things organized. I'm going to do sides here and angles here, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. Colin, give me something else.
Angle L or angle G is congruent to angle J.
Yeah, thanks.
Angle H is congruent to angle K.
Excellent. Angle H is congruent to angle K. Beautiful. 3 down, 3 left. Lance.
Angle I is congruent to angle L.
Yes. Angle I is congruent to angle L. The angle, what's easier, guys? Sides or angles, you think? I think angles are easier. Harms, give me another set of sides that are congruent. IH is congruent to, what'd you say? LK. Very good. That's tricky, but look how she did that right. 2 to 3, 2 to 3. All right, who's got the last one? Which one do we not have up there yet? Come on, we got to figure it out. Go ahead, Natalia.
Angle HG is
HG is not an angle.
I mean line HG
Okay,
is
HG.
congruent to line KL.
I don't think so. HG goes from
Oh.
3 to 1, so I think it's
That's
KJ,
congruent to KJ.
right? KJ. Again, if you put what she said at first, guys, unfortunately we'd have to mark it wrong. So it seems like it's really easy, but you just gotta take 5 seconds and think about it. You guys can all do this. All right, let's jump to the next page, see where we're going with this stuff. All right. The blue triangle and the red triangle, check those two out. Match up all the 6 congruent parts first. I think that's the easiest thing to do. Match up all the angles, match up all the sides. Angle A is congruent to angle X. Angle B is congruent to angle Y. Angle C is congruent to angle Z. Angles match up pretty good. Now match up your sides, guys. Side AB is congruent to side XY. AC is congruent to XZ. And BC is congruent to YZ. Make sure you got your angle symbols in front and your lines on top. Again, if you switch the order of any of these, make sure they're both switched. That's okay. Okay, and the way that I've organized these 6, you don't have to have them in the same exact order. You switched around. But now the tough part. How did the red one move from the blue? And I'll give you guys a big hint. It moved 2 waves, not just one. What do you guys see? Minetti?
Rotation?
Say again?
Rotation?
I don't think it's a rotation. If it were, think about it, rotating it, would have taken the C, would have taken the Z up. Close though. It looks like it's going to be a rotation, but it's not. Al, what do you notice?
A reflection and a translation.
Guys, it reflected and moved down. So, jot this down. It reflected over. Al, which axis did it reflect over?
A Y.
Yeah, it reflected over the y-axis. And then how did it move? Al, can you figure that out?
It moved 2 units down.
Yeah, move 2 units down. Okay, so I think it's translated 2 units down. I think you got to do a little bit of that in your homework. You got to say the corresponding or congruent parts, and you got to talk about how it moved. Donnie, does that make sense? How it reflected and moved? Okay, it does right off the bat. It looks like a rotation, but I don't think it rotated. All right, now you have to write some of this will be real easy. Some of it you're going to have to write some equations. You're going to use properties of congruent figures. You're always looking to write an equation here to find the missing measures of angles or the sides of a figure. All right, look at example 3. What kind of shape is that? Parallelograms, okay, quadrilaterals. Here's my question. Are they congruent? Yes, no, or not sure? I know that they are. Guess how I know they are? Well, you can't go by looks. No, why are they congruent? Because the directions tell us they are. Okay? Parallelograms, they have to tell you in the directions that the things are congruent, that the figures are congruent. So, these are congruent. All right. If AD is 24 inches long, find the measure of FI. So, everybody go to the top. Everybody labeled AD is 24 inches. Okay. If AD is 24, guess how long FI is? Why? Why are they the same? Because they're congruent, exactly. So, 24 inches. Now the hard part. I always love it when the angles, when they put 3 letters and then the 3 letters make a cool word. Okay, angle bad. Everybody find angle BAD in the top one. What if BAD is 160 degrees? And GFI. Ooh. Is that the corresponding angle of angle bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be what?
2x plus 1.
Well, what's true about those 2 angles? Those 2 angles are congruent. Since we have a variable and we want to find the value of x, can anybody write an equation now to help us solve for x? What would the equation be? Rothstein?
2x plus 20
Equals 160. You're going to write a lot of equations today, guys. Okay, and it's just a 2-stepper. And I think you guys can, even with the big numbers, solve that one without a calculator. Everybody subtract 20 from both sides. 2x equals 160, 140. How many of you guys can divide 140 by 2 in your head? You and I are going to split 140 bucks. How much do we get? 70. Dividing by 2, guys. Don't put a degree symbol on there. It's not in degrees. It's just x equals 20. The degrees is actually 160 degrees. 2 70s plus 20 would be 160, but there you go. So, some things are going to seem pretty easy, like that first letter A, and sometimes you get the right equation and solve. Can you guys do it? I think you can. All right, last page. You guys are doing great. Man, I don't know how an extra page always ends up in there. All right. Trapezoids. This one I thought was tricky, okay, because it looks like it rotated 180, but it unfortunately it didn't. And it took us a while to figure out that it didn't. Does everybody agree it looks like it rotated?
Yeah.
It actually flipped this way and then translated. And here's how I figured that out. A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D goes with E, F, G, H. The order that they give you in the directions is the order that the way things match up. What that means is angle A goes with E, B goes with F, C goes with G, and D goes with H. Okay? Right, if it rotated, I think A and D would go with F and G, but they don't. So it went like this, guys. It reflected to stand, and then it moved. So D, notice D goes with H, and C goes with G. So, all right, let's do this. If AB is 5 meters long, everybody put 5 for AB. Right on the figure. That's a smart thing to do, guys, to draw right on the figure. What's the measure of EF?
5 meters.
They're corresponding. That goes with that. They're congruent. It's also 5 meters. Done. Now, if BC is 4x minus 6, BC, jot that down that it's 4x minus 6. And GF, and here's where we figured out that this side goes with this side. There's the reflection and the move. It's 2 times x minus 1. Okay? And those two things would be what? What equation would you write? Trace, what equation would you write?
6x minus 7.
Okay, you think they add up to something? They don't.
4x minus 6 equals 2x minus 4.
They're equal to each other. So let's practice this, guys, because it's been a while since we've done this. The equation is 4x minus 6 equals 2 times the quantity of x minus 1. If you distributed that 2 in the first step, that would be okay to save yourself a step. I'm writing it out, though. Come on, people. All right, let's solve this for x. Distribute first. 4x minus 6 equals 2x minus 2. And then, guys, remember how we've learned to solve these? I taught you guys to move your x's left and your constants right. That's how we solve these. Subtract 2x from both sides. Go over here with it. 2x minus 6 equals -2. Now it's just a two-stepper. 2x equals 4 divided by 2. Did anybody else get x equals 2? Okay. So the value of x is 2. All right, if HGF is 140 degrees, what's the measure of CDA? Same? $1.40. Okay? Well, guys, get this in your memory now. Some of the problems are real easy. These match things. Some of them you have to write equations. All right, last problem. This was a tough one. Triangles ABC and DEF are congruent. Tell us that. And the value of x. Okay. First, everybody put little right angles in here. They got to tell you that these are right triangles to do what you need to do here. They have to be right triangles. So, no. Oh, change the 4. My bad. The 4, guys, change it to an 8. That was the first thing we had to do. It doesn't work out right with the 4. So change the side AB to be 8 feet long, not 4 feet long. Let's see. I'm going to write x minus 4. Which side is congruent to the x minus 4 side? And the other one? Connor? C to A, right? How long is C to A? They didn't tell us. How could we figure out how long CA is? Colin? Guys, you got to do the Pythagorean theorem. You got to do a whole problem first just to find, let's call A to C side length x, just to keep it to one variable. Okay? Colin, give me the Pythagorean theorem to figure out what x is. Okay? I'm going to use x. Is that okay? For C, I'm going to use x, and that's the hypotenuse. There's your c. So 8 squared plus 15 squared equals c squared, but I want x squared. If you wrote c squared, guys, you'll get the same answer. 8 squared, I hope you guys can all do in your head. Has anybody memorized 15 squared yet? You see it a lot.
125.
Not 125. 225. Right there. And then somebody had 64 and 225 together. 289, which I recognize as a perfect square. Believe it or not, 289 is a perfect square. Don't forget, guys, to take the square root of both sides step. Put the little square root symbol on both sides. That makes x squared become x. What's the square root of 289? 17. Now, we know that AC is 17. Now we can write an equation. Now we can write an equation. Who's got it? Burke, what equation would we write to figure out the value of x?
X minus 4.
X minus 4 equals 17. Those two sides are congruent. We know one of them is x minus 4 and one of them is 17. Set them equal to each other. Guys, remember in 7th grade when we used to solve one-step equations like this? It was hard. Everybody add 4 to both sides. Burke, what's x? 21. And then might as well label it feet. So, sometimes you have to do a whole nother problem just to be able to solve the problem you're given. It's okay to do 2 steps.